Transmutation by George Washington Carey. Part 11, The Egg and the Hermetic Rebris. In the central part of the head is the wonderful chamber or bed called the thalamus. Santi's Anatomy of the Brain and the Spinal Cord describes it thus, quote, "It is the greatest ganglion of the interbrain," end quote. The thalamus is an important sensory relay station. Its medial part is concerned with smell, and its lateral part of common sensation and taste. According to Head Holmes, it is also an organ of consciousness for impulses of pain and temperature. The third ventricle separates the thalami from each other, except at the midpoint where they're joined by the massa intermedia. The thalamus is situated behind the media to the corpus stratum and projects backward over the midbrain. Laterally, it rests against the superior lamina of the internal capsule, which separated it from the lentiform nucleus. The thalamus is shaped like an egg, which the small end directed forward. It measures 4 centimeters, or about 1.5 inches in length, and 2.5 centimeters of 1 inch in width and thickness. It has an interior and posterior extremity and 4 surfaces, a superior, inferior, medial, and lateral. The most striking statement in the above paragraph is that the thalamus is egg-shaped. We can readily see why there is so much reference made in ancient religions to the egg. For the thalamus, with its adjacent appendages, when viewed in cross-sections of the brain, looks exactly like a beetle, the body egg-shaped, and the horns of the lateral ventricle typified the horns of a beetle, or beetly is how they wrote it. In the Scarabaeus of Egypt exemplified the egg of immortality, the light of the world. It is a chamber, the Holy of Holies, wherein is concealed the Ark of the Covenant. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, we find this referred to as, quote, the boat of Seeker, end quote. Every religion which has existed down through the ages has told, in its own terminology, the same story, the same physiological process taking place within the body of man. On the posterior side of the thalamus, we find the pineal body. It is a co-shaped body, 6 millimeters, or 0.25 inches high, and 4 millimeters, or 0.17 inches in diameter, joined to the roof of the third ventricle by a flattened stalk, the habenula. Santi tells us that the interior of the pineal body is made of closed follicles surrounded by growths of connective tissue. The follicles are filled with epithelial calcareous deposits are found also on the pineal stalk and along the choroid plexus. The function of the pineal body is unknown. On the other hand, it seems to me to be admirably adapted to alchemical work, from which the light of the sun, note this, the enemy of all generating process, must be excluded. As for the Sholion, I know too much about the conscious care and scrupulous exactitude which the imagers of old used in interpreting their clock to identify the pestle, the instrument which he is showing to the visitor. I cannot think that the artist will fail to show also it is an indissoluble counterpart of the mortar. Furthermore, the very form of the utensil is characteristic. What the Shulian is holding is really a long-necked matrix, like those used by chemists, and what they still call balloons, on the account of their round bodies. Finally, the end of the handle of the supposed pestle is hollowed out and shaped like a whistle, which certainly proves that we're dealing with a hollow utensil, a vase, or a vial. This essential and very secret vessel has been given various names, chosen in such a manner as to mislead the uninitiated, not only to its real purpose, but also as to its composition. The initiate understands and knows what the vessel is that I am talking about. Generally, it is called the philosopher's egg and the green lion. By the term egg, the wise man means their compound prepared in its own vessel and ready to undergo the transformations, which the action of the fire will produce on him. In this sense, it really is an egg, since it is covered by a shell. It encloses the philosopher's rebis, composed of white and red, in the same proportion as in the bird's egg. Now this alembic is the last 12 inches of the lower intestine. Matrix is the mother. This is all that I will say. This is very important to understand and locate, or one cannot even start the gross work of alchemy, which is the regeneration of the physical body. Now you know what the alembic is and where. This must be sealed with the Hermetic seal, so none of the gases or vapors can escape from the alembic as it does its work. It is now the start of the purification process within which all the changes are going on. End of part 11. Watch the playlist for part 12, Purification Process. Make sure that you support the channel for future growth. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, like, share, comment, donate if you're able. Love yourselves and love each other unconditionally.